holding death row inmates in around-the-clock solitary confinement. Legal experts say if the three-judge panel upholds a ruling in favor of a condemned inmate, it could open the door for prisoners in other death penalty states to file similar challenges. A federal judge in Virginia ruled last year that the policy should be assessed on a case-by-case basis, and that failing to do that violates an inmate's due process rights. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
KNX 1070, Ebola update.
CDC holding its latest conference call on Ebola in the U.S., and once again we're hearing from CDC Director Dr. Tom Frieden.
Today marks exactly 1 month since the first case of Ebola diagnosed in the U.S. or anywhere in this hemisphere. Mr. Duncan was diagnosed on September 28th. Since his diagnosis, 3 more individuals have been diagnosed with Ebola in the United States. This is unprecedented. Managing Ebola is not easy, and what we're doing with these new guidelines is using experience and data to refine the policies and programs that we recommend. At CDC, we base our decisions on science and experience.
The CDC is holding its latest conference call. They then outlined revised guidelines on Ebola exposure.
Starting today, the 6 states to which 70% of all of the returning travelers return will be doing an active monitoring program to monitor their health on a daily basis so that if they develop symptoms, they can rapidly be assessed and, if they're found to have Ebola, effectively isolated and treated. The new guidelines increase the level of protection by outlining different levels of exposure and outlining different public health actions that can be taken for each of those levels of exposure. We identify 4 different levels. The first are high-risk exposure, things like a needle stick from someone who's been caring for Ebola patients, or someone who had a known exposure to a patient with Ebola, for example, a family member who cared for someone when they were sick without using protective equipment. The next level is the some risk category. In that category, we include someone who might have been in the household of a patient with Ebola, but didn't provide any direct care or have any direct contact.
Much more on these latest guidelines throughout the day here on KNX 1070. On Thursday, November 6th, from 3 until 4 p.m., KNX presents a special town hall broadcast answering your questions and concerns about Ebola. Call in or use social media. Ebola Uncovered exclusively on KNX 1070 News Radio. KNX News Time, 12:50.
Los Angeles loses yet another football team. Here's Randy Cardone.